Welcome back to the November 14th, 2023 meeting of the Hauppauge School District Board of Education. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 4 on the agenda is the superintendent's update. Dr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Barchet. Thank you all who are in attendance tonight. Starting out, just a big congratulations to some of our student athletes. Our girls varsity volleyball team was crowned Section 11 girls volleyball AA county champions. They will now go on to defend their, this is an old update?
No, it should be. They were in the Long Island Championship last year.
Got it. Well, I kind of know that since they beat my daughter's team to get there. So great season for the Eagles. I was in attendance. Ms. Salvia was there as well. Dr. Smalley, Dr. McCarthy, and they had a heroic effort against Long Beach, but ultimately were not successful, but tremendous season. Our Hauppauge Smithtown girls varsity swim team captured their 3rd straight Suffolk County championship. I'm looking at you, Mr. Butler. On Saturday, November 5th, Haley and Avery Wilcox will represent Hauppauge at the New York State Swim Championships this upcoming weekend. Awesome. Round of applause for them. Congratulations also to some recent news here, our students who were inducted into the National Honor Society on November 2nd. Also, congratulations to our music students who were inducted into the Triad Music Honor Society on October 26th. Earlier this week, on Monday, November 13th, was World Kindness Day. Bretton Woods rocked kindness by adding special rocks, which I saw personally, in front of the building with kind messages in honor of Miss Quinn, Rachel Quinn, the Rachel Quinn Foundation. Mr. Gagliardi, who's here tonight in attendance, always spearheads that effort at Bretton Woods with his colleagues, and it's always incredible to see. Lastly, our students at Bretton Woods, Forest Brook, and Pines participated in Veterans Day assemblies to honor our veterans, had board members in attendance at those different assemblies, always incredible. It seems like the number of veterans who attend each year grows, and it's just incredibly special and unique to Hauppauge. Students wore red, white, and blue and honored those veterans in different ways, sometimes with flowers and hugs and different crafts throughout the buildings. So thank you to our principals who always put our veterans first here in Hauppauge. And then lastly, this is our last meeting in November, so just wishing everyone a very happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the few days with family, with football, and with the feast. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. 5C on the agenda is adoption of minutes for the business meeting of Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Scarito. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Kiley. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0-2. Mr. Barchet and Ms. Capisi abstaining. 5B on the agenda, presentations, capital bond presentation by Dr. Murphy, our superintendent, and Bridget Sienna, our assistant superintendent for business and operations. Steve, will the live stream pick up the television?
Yes, we have one specifically for the live stream.
Okay, thank you. That's working?
Okay, so, thank you, Mr. Barchet. Thank you to the board for allowing us again some time here in public, those of you here from the community. Principals, Mr. Butler, we are going to present on our bond proposal. I always like to begin with our district slogan, which was adopted last year. I truly believe that it captures, and again, this slogan was offered up by one of our own students and selected by the community, but this captures the spirit of the work we do here in Hauppauge. If we get it right, our learners today are leaders tomorrow. We take that as our charge each and every day. So that's kind of our guiding light always, and now we're talking about a bond, and it's that backdrop that guides our work. So just some pride and recognition. These are Google Earth shots of our buildings. Earlier tonight, we were fortunate to have a bond subcommittee meeting to talk a bit about our district, and as we went around the room, there were individuals from all different perspectives, parents, community residents, teachers, members of the board, right? And there was just a message of pride about living and working and raising kids in Hauppauge. There's also some recognition that there's room for improvement, and that really was a guiding light to the work of the facilities committee. I always like to just kind of share a couple of anecdotes. When you walk around Hauppauge School District, you see the pride, you see it kind of in the clothing that we're wearing and in the imagery. And again, you see that we rebranded with new logos and our slogan. But you also see that when you attend, varsity football game, you're using porta potties. You see it when you're running around the track and there's cracks or in the tennis courts, or with a sweltering gym at a graduation ceremony at one of our elementary schools, right? So there's room for improvement. There's recognition that there's some work to do, and there always is. If you run a household, you're always looking to keep your house up to date, and that's a microcosm of what we do here in the district. I would say we have a few principles that anchor the way we proceeded here, but I pulled the vision statement again that the board adopted brand new last year, along with a mission statement and some goals. Just to read in case not everybody can see this. Our graduates will be lifelong learners, critical thinkers, effective problem solvers, and future leaders. Every school will be a robust learning environment offering rigorous academic programs, extracurricular activities, and various educational and vocational pathways for all students to reach their full potential. So again, learners today, leaders tomorrow. Well, our vision for that metamorphosis is anchored by these principles, right? And so our charge is with the facilities committee, which the board gives the facilities committee the charge of working to analyze and review our facilities from an exhaustive list and capture a final vision that promotes this vision, right? And that's cascaded through all of the work we did as a committee and then beyond, with interviews with our principals and with Mr. Butler and others. But really in this vision statement, it's about everything from the learning in the classrooms to the learning on the fields to pursuing a job or pursuing college or pursuing military or pursuing some other pursuit. That's our charge. So with that, we are proposing a bond of $58.2 million to the community. The vote on this is on December 5th. And the implications here, which I'll get into just a little bit, because I think it's of vital importance to understand this. When you hear a number like 58 million, you're not quite sure where that lands. Is that high? Is that low? The bond committee, the facilities committee when we first worked to look at what was a lengthy list derived from a building condition survey, the number was more than twice that originally, right? And that came down to 90 and then 80, and ultimately we landed on number 58 million that we thought best addressed equitably the needs throughout our district and our 5 buildings. The impact on the taxpayer is roughly $15 a year for every $100,000 in home value. Of course, no house is $100,000 anymore, so you simply take that number and you multiply by the right value here. So for a $700,000 house, you take that 15, you multiply it by 7, and you have your $105 a year, roughly, right? So a little less than $9 a month. How do we get there, right? Because I'll even acknowledge at first blush when we started looking at these numbers, I said 58 million, $105 a year, that sounds pretty good. Why is it so low? And everything's relative, but every dollar spent, right, is something that we look at and care about, but how do we get to 105? So there's 3 main factors here. One is that this district has had debt for decades in the form of bonds, dating back to the 90s. So this board and prior boards have adopted a prudent financial approach of recognizing that in keeping up our schools over the years, you need to borrow money practically and intelligently in a manner that our taxpayers can get used to a fairly consistent levy that doesn't have large fluctuations. So one of the factors is that we have debt peeling off the books, assuming that the community votes for this particular bond, we'd have debt that peels off the books, coinciding with the adoption of new debt. So I'll call that factor number 1. Factor number 2 is that we would be approaching the bond, and Ms. Sienna will get into the phases in a moment, but in a multi-year manner. So it's not the community approves and then we go out and we borrow $58 million the next day, right? There would be 3 phases that are based upon feedback from the facilities committee, and again, Dr. Crafter was the chair, Ms. Capisi, Ms. Salvia were part of that committee as well. So it's about considerations like, all right, what reasonably could we get done in the first summer? You know, what shovels can we put in what grounds in that first summer? And then what about years 2 and year 3? So phasing it in affects, you know, when you're borrowing and again, coincides with some debt peeling away. The third important factor is our aid rate. So for us, we're fortunate that for every dollar that we spend, we're really spending, the net is about 45 cents. So that 55-cent delta comes back to the district. Now, it doesn't work so nicely right when you're spending the dollar. It's not like I'm going to spend $1, but I'm only going to spend 45 cents. We get the aid back the following year when we have a project like this. So those 3 factors help to again mitigate the impact on the taxpayer. And again, it's recognized that this is kind of a safe accounting lens to look through, but there's other variables that play a role. So it could be that if I had exactly a $700,000 house down the road, it may not be exactly $105 a year, but this is generally how this complex algorithm works. So I'm going to kind of just share one of the lenses that we're looking through in thinking about the bond. Just move this out of the way in case it's anyone's way. So the instructional experience for our kids, the board has supported in recent years we had a bond that allowed for a brand new STEM lab at the high school. We're looking to build on that momentum with renovations to our science research lab in the high school. We're also looking to reimagine on the other end of the spectrum. You know, Mr. Butler's here. He's been for years thinking about how can I reimagine what is now an exercise room, but we want to advance into a true fitness center with exercise science at the root of what's going on in there. We're proud of the work Mr. Scheffler does as leading our TV studio, our production studio, Eagle Watch, but we are in need of renovations in there and new equipment. And then our outdoor classrooms, which were, we've had outdoor spaces in the past, but I would say one of the silver linings of the COVID years where we're bringing kids outside more often. You see here a sample rendering of the high school courtyard, and there's Mr. Whitehorse is here, who has 1,000 ideas of what that could look like to bring students out from all disciplines to enjoy that space. One of the ideas, again, is to extend the opportunities with the sciences and to bring a greenhouse into that space. And then also across the street at the middle school to look at outdoor classroom space. Mrs. O'Connor's here and has ideas there as well. Ms. Sienna?
Sure. So looking at some district-wide initiatives would be the replacement of all doors, including the hardware, and then replacing it with door access control, which means that you would put your ID badge up to the door. You could lock down easily should something happen security-wise quickly, that you're not fumbling for a key and trying to find. You're ready to go in an instant. Other district-wide initiatives would be lighting upgrades at all the buildings, air conditioning in each main gym. I'm sure if you've been to a graduation ceremony, you know that you can only tolerate a large space with a lot of people for only so long without air conditioning. The roof replacement would not be district-wide because all the other roofs at this point have been done except for this building and the Brentwood Wing 2 roof. So this includes that, bathroom upgrades to come to ADA compliance, and then site reconfiguration, which means asphalt, rip and replace, and cement to fix cracks and whatnot. Other than that, expansion of parking, over at Pines, and some miscellaneous like PA system improvements and phone upgrades, which are much needed throughout the district, to also tie into security.
Yeah, I just want to add one talking point there. So Dr. Smalley's team looks at our security and IT efforts district-wide. There's what would you call it? There's an ecosystem there where the door replacements, the security vestibule, the phones, the PA, they're part of this overall vision of keeping our students safe, but also doing it in such a way where they believe they're coming into a campus which has that same magic that we all felt as kids, but kind of reimagining it as Ms. Sienna is going to get into with the Hauppauge theme and the Hauppauge branding. But I can't overstate that these improvements, I used to be many years ago in charge of technology here as well. The phone system, we're still using like the traditional phone system that you're all used to from a long time ago. And there's advancements there that are going to help to keep us all safer as the years go on, along with the PA system integration.
So looking over at the outside to the high school complex, so reimagining what that looks like as you walk in, going straight to the track, resurfacing the track, a new grandstand, ADA walking paths so that you can easily get to and from without walking through mud, safe paths for vehicles to get to different spaces depending on what's going on, tennis court reconstruction, including pickleball, and including deck hockey, expanding parking spots for 30 additional spaces along that area as well. And then even when you come through the front loop, although it's not athletic in nature, some security upgrades would be a security booth as soon as you come in to make sure that it's not the first time that you're asked your identification as you walk through the building. The first time you're asked for it is as you drive through the front loop. There's a security vestibule there asking questions first. So this is some high school athletic complex upgrades again.
And if I could just spotlight one of these items, which isn't really anything to do with athletics, but is near and dear to the committee, You heard in my superintendent's update about our Veterans Day assemblies. We also have our Hometown Heroes parades, and we are very much looking forward to designing a wall of heroes, a place that we can honor our Hauppauge heroes, and have it front and center as people walk into the athletic complex.
So this is a sample of what this currently looks like and what it could potentially look like. We do have renderings underway that we will share out as soon as they are complete. Looking over at the middle school, so currently there is a ball wall. We're looking at multi-purpose sports and creating basketball, ball wall, and lines for volleyball. Resurfacing the track as it currently stands. A patio gathering area, a comfort station so that it's removing porta potties, both high school and middle school sides. And then, as Dr. Murphy explained before, an outdoor learning area as well. So again, what does this mean? This means $15 for every 100,000 in home value. So at 700,000, that's roughly 5 pizzas a year. Looking over at project timeline, so Dr. Murphy had explained that it would be done in phases. So what does that mean and what does that look like? Phase 1 would start the summer of July 2024. We're anticipating about $5 million, and how we came up with the dollar amounts for phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is the goal here is to make it as affordable as possible to the taxpayer. So in doing so, looking at a July 1 shovel in the ground plan, in order to build that, it has to be items that are going to be received immediately through the summer, items that are easily designable, because it's a relatively quick turnaround should the bond pass December 5th. From that point to get everything up to the state education department, they have to review everything. If they have additional questions, it takes about 12 to 16 weeks depending for them to review and give approval there. So looking forward, the following summer would be phase 2. It would be the same thing, SED approval, bid the projects, borrow funds through SAN, and then looking every summer to do more work. So phase 2 would be summer of 2025, and ultimately final work would happen the summer of 2026, which means all work complete the fall of 2026. And then some important dates. So tonight is November 14th. This is our last Board of Education meeting before the bond vote on December 5th. Tomorrow will be over at the middle school PTA and then attending a couple other PTAs from now until December 5th. More information will be located on our district's website. And then the voter referendum itself is December 5th from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. here in this room at Whippoorwill.
Yeah, and we had sent out a video that hopefully everybody got to see. Within that video, had a QR code. That QR code brings you directly to this website. The friendly URL is tinyurl.com/hauppaugebond. Everything, the presentation, all of our root documents, anything that we're sharing with the public, we're going to continue to add to that website over time. That concludes the presentation, Mr. Parshay.
Yes, excuse me. Any questions from the community concerning the bond presentation only at this point? Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Murphy. Thank you, Ms. Sienna.
Thank you.
Number 6 on the agenda is questions and comments on tonight's agenda items only. Does anyone have questions concerning tonight's agenda? 7 on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do any members have any items that they'd like to have removed from the consent agenda? Mr. Kiley?
7.2 B1.
7.2B1. Any others? I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 7.2B1. Dr. Kraft makes a motion. Ms. Salvia, I'll take that as a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. 7.2B1 removed by Mr. Kiley. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Scredo. Mrs. Salvia, the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0-2. Mr. Kiley and Dr. Kraft abstaining. Number 8 on the agenda are policies. These policies are all on for first reading. Do any members have any comments or concerns concerning any of the 4 policies before they return to the policy committee for second reading?
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Capisi?
With respect to item,
Colleen, do you mind using the microphone?
yes.
Okay.
With respect to item 8.3 regarding graduation ceremonies, I would just ask that the policy committee could take a look and clarify that any graduation conditions set by the building principal be made at the beginning of the year. I feel it's only fair for students to know what's expected of them at the beginning of the school year. And then if there are any changes that need to be made, that they be brought before the board for consideration.
That's
Awesome.
specific to this, to where, any principal may set other rules and regulations?
Yes.
Okay.
And then with respect to item 8.4 regarding transportation for non-public school students,
Yes.
in the first paragraph, could we make it clear that it refers to days upon which the Hauppauge public schools are closed? And then with respect to, I believe it's in the third paragraph, just to clarify when students are eligible to be able to provide transportation. I'm thinking of a situation where someone lives at one end of the district and then they're able to go to a centralized location where we're then sending the students out to the schools. So if they're outside of that mile boundary, but yet if they get themselves to the centralized location, they are within the boundary,
Yes.
will they be provided transportation?
Yes.
Okay, if we could just look at the policy to make sure that that's clear.
Sure.
Mr. Tasman, are policies 3 and 4 noted by Ms. Capisi, are those time sensitive? Okay, so any further comments, Ms. Capisi?
No, that's it, thank
All
you.
right, so policy 1 and 2, which is 0100 and 4321, are returned to policy committee without comment and will be on our next board agenda for second reading. The third and fourth policies, which is 4772 and 8413, are recommitted to the policy committee to address Ms. Capisi's concerns, and we'll put them on again for first reading with those amendments, if any, at our next meeting. Ms. Capisi, could I ask you to redline what's been given to you thus far, so the policy committee can see in detail the proposed language?
Certainly, no problem.
So, Mr. Tasman, 1 and 2 will go second reading at our next meeting, 3 and 4 will go for another first reading with any amendments.
Thank you.
And I just ask that any of the amendments, Mr. Tasman, be run by the district's council for compliance with the law.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. 9 on the agenda is committee reports concerning the audit committee. Ms. Capisi was a permanent chair of that committee elected.
Correct.
And who was the permanent chair?
I was elected to be the permanent chair at our last meeting. I would just like to add that we did meet on November 8th, and we met with our internal auditors, where we discussed our risk assessment reports. And we also met with our external auditor to discuss the financial statements, which I'm happy to say we received a clean opinion on.
Great.
And those reports were accepted at this meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. The board policy committee, Mr. Barchet has been voted the permanent chair, and we will take tonight's discussion concerning the 2 policies under advisement at the next meeting. The Islip Town Board Association Representatives Committee, Mr. Buscarino, has a permanent chair been elected.
Yes, me.
Okay. Thank you. And I ask members to use their microphones just so people at home can hear us. The steering committee, Dr. Murphy, you are the permanent chair, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. HIV/AIDS committee, Dr. Crafty, you are the permanent chair? That's correct. Okay. The Code of Conduct committee, Mr. Scarito, you were appointed temporary chair. Has a permanent chair been elected?
Yes, I have.
Mr. Scarito is the permanent chair. The Safety Committee, Mr. Buscarino has the committee adopted or elected rather a permanent chair.
Yes, it's gonna be me.
The the Facilities Committee, Dr. Craffa has the committee elected a permanent chair.
Yes, I'm gonna serve as the permanent chair.
The Curriculum Instruction and Technology Committee, Ms. Salvia, you were appointed temporary chair. Has the committee appointed or elected a permanent chair?
Yes, me.
Thank you. And the Bond Subcommittee is the co-chairs, there's 4 chairs to that committee. It's myself, Dr. Murphy, John Savastano, and Tracy Bryan. Number 10, discussion matters. There are none today. New business. Do any board members have new business? Mr. Scarito? I'd like, if everyone could just rise, I want to give, just rise, please. I want to have a moment of silence for a longtime employee of the district. She worked here 49 years from 1965 to 2013. Nancy Ferrante recently passed away, so please join me in a moment of silence and prayer. Thank you. Any other new business from any board members? New business from administration?
No.
Questions and comments from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? With that, I'll take a motion for an adjournment. Our next, I'm sorry.
I have a question concerning the district, okay? I have something to share concerning the district.
Great.
Okay? Where should I go?
Right there is perfect.
Okay. You guys can see me pretty well?
Perfect.
Okay. So,
Is this personal? Is it okay that this message, whatever he's going to say, is being broadcast 100%?
I'm fine with that. Okay, so, yeah. So first let me introduce myself to all of you, since you don't know me. I am Jack Ryan Sullivan, a well-known student in Hauppauge Middle School, and I came from Bretton Woods, former president. I am the sportscaster for Eagles Nest News, and sometimes around maybe once or twice a month, I do the morning announcements for the Hauppauge Middle School. I manage the Hauppauge Middle School baseball team, and I was the student coach for the Hauppauge Middle School football team this year. The season just ended with a record of 3-3, and I'm a pretty average sports fan. So school athletics is the center of our town. Hauppauge's biggest events are homecoming, blackout football games, and Kicks for Cancer. Any events we host are usually centered around the athletic fields. And, I've heard from you guys that our fields need improvement. I agree. I do think we need better quality. I think we should have a new Jumbotron scoreboard at the football field. These things may cost a lot, but it's worth it. I have found the price of a Jumbotron can range anywhere. So the cost for these Jumbotrons are usually $30,000 to $50,000 for a high school level scoreboard. I think it may be a lot, but the quality is huge, and I think it's probably even bigger than the cost itself. So the HYOEs, by the way, all volunteer based, are working at improvements in their programs, fields, and training. My focus at this stage for a Jumbotron scoreboard by the time I graduate high school, which is 2028. So I basically found a website where you could usually pull up animations easily for Daktronics. Those things are very, very cheap. I think that's the easy part. So so I noted during a football game in the press box while I assisted Mr. Leonetti with announcing, there was a tablet to edit the scoreboard, and I noticed the Daktronics logo. So I believe you guys already have some sort of connection or Hauppauge. So I think students should be involved in creating these things, such as video productions and sports-related education clubs or classes. The high school football field is used for football, soccer, track, band, kick line, color guard, and cheerleading, along with people in the community using it for a run or a walk. Our programs are doing really good, which will attract more people to our community, and this is why we need better quality to show off our district. I also looked at frameworks, which is very easy. It's about $600 for like a regular creator, for just one creator. For classes, it's $1,000. It has templates for like scoreboard, which is easy to use. It's great for graphics and creators and creates posters. You don't have to pay to update or create your templates. You just have to pay that $600. So let me just make this a little bit shorter. Okay. So no creation needed, such as Photoshop. It's just updating files and animations with folders. Although also audio and sound can be included and export as well. We may also need Adobe for some of the animations. So show control. So show control on the scoreboard could be part of a class/club to prepare for our games. And it could really help out to prepare, for the future. So the great part of having a Jumbotron with Daktronics is the opportunity for advertising, support for college prospects, fan entertainment, or even concerts or graduations. There would be the ability for live footage, games to engage with the crowds, accurate scores. You can display a player's statistics at any time during a game, as well as showcase anything you display. People in our town see the fields, but these improvements reach more than just our community. We already know our new motto, which was made last year, is winners today, winners tomorrow. If we get better fields and basically a huge Jumbotron at the west side of our football field, then I think we will have more leaders tomorrow, because it gets more students engaged in the game of football or any soccer, kick line, or all these sports that include basically the football field. It's called Robert Druckenmiller Field, which I'm basically saying. So I plan to go to college. I want to donate. So if you guys want me to start a fundraiser, it's your option. I want to donate $100 to start off a fundraiser. I would like the board to consider these upgrades to be placed into our budget. Yep. So here are the stages of the project. Forming a team and gain support to join in on seeing the project completion. There's also planning, funding, budget, coordinating, putting up a new scoreboard, see it put to use, and passing the leadership to the future. So I've been in touch with the high school football coach, Mrs. Melissa Barbera, the president of the Football Booster Club. Fundraising plans are in progress right now with me and her. I would like to see fundraising and or possibly sponsorships to build a scoreboard. Every day I think of a new thing to add to this project. We could even have a camera crew during the games where they can record some footage and we can do some replays. Our community is very important. I took a picture of me in front of the field, and I hope to take one with the Jumbotron behind me when I graduate high school. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say, and thank you for caring about our community. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, please back up to the podium if you don't mind.
Oh, back to the podium?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we normally have a 3-minute deadline or hard stop on public comments, but I could listen to you all night long. But anything else you want to tell us about the district? I know you're a big Army fan, right?
Yeah, my favorite sports teams, Jets, Mets, Army, Black Knights, and there are many, many other teams out there that I really like. So yeah, I think, so my dad told me like a couple of days ago, like years later while I'm commentating a lot of baseball games, he and Mom will go out and they'll see that Jumbotron, and he said, Jack and the community made that happen, and you know what, I think it's gonna really attract a lot of people, and I think we'll gain a lot of more fans.
Yeah, so you are an amazing kid, and your parents and your teachers should be incredibly proud of you. I have a proposal for you. I'd like you to co-chair the bond committee with myself and Dr. Murphy, if you would. You have a unique perspective and a passion that we desperately need.
Nice.
Our next meeting is on the 28th, and I would love for you to be there. Of course, if your mom and your parents say it's okay.
Yeah, what community? What's the community?
Sure. So there's 20 members in it.
Okay.
You'd be part of the
You'd be one of the
executive board.
youngest.
You'd be one of the ones making the decisions.
You mean Board of Education?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to be talking about the things that were on the slide before, about the fields, about the scoreboard, and maybe even a Jumbotron. So it'd be great if you were part of that. We'd really love that.
Beautiful.
I'll
love
be
to
in
be
touch.
part of it.
We'll see if we can work that out.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Mr. Butler, do you want to thank him now or later?
Sounds great.
Clearly.
So the next meeting is the 28th at 6 o'clock, provided that you're allowed to join us. We would love for that to
Here?
happen. Right
Yes.
here. Dr. Murphy will send your parents all of the information.
December 28th, right?
November.
November 28th.
Oh, November 28th.
2 weeks from tonight. Check your schedule. If you don't have any dates or other appointments, we'd love to have you.
No, I don't really have anything else. I would love to join you guys. But
It would
thank
be
you.
our honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Anything else from the community concerning anything related to the district whatsoever? Yes, sir.
I can see his ID.
No doubt about it. All right, with that, I'll take a motion for an adjournment. Our next meeting is, of the Board of Education is December 5th here, actually at the high school at 8 p.m. That is the same date as our budget vote, bond vote, sorry. And Mr. Scrito makes a motion. I will second. Any discussion on adjournment? All those in favor? Thank you. 7-0. We are adjourned. God bless the United States of America and God bless Hauppauge. Thank you.
And thank you to the principals, Mr. Butler, Mr. Holm, for coming tonight. Appreciate it.